Hi, my name is Ainsley Heilich, and today I'm going to show you my process from start to finish of designing a mural and getting it done. So yeah, let's get started. You're looking at my Procreate video showing the rough draft and then the final render, which I just started there, of a Van Gogh Starry Night, except I swapped out the village in the original for the town that I live in and where the mural lives, Tuscola, Illinois. So, here's just to give you a good look at the actual painting to, get an idea of the color, the strokes, the overall kind of vibe that the painting gets, and trying to really capture that Van Gogh sort of texture and brushwork with the Tuscola version. So I'm going to get into the buildings that I chose to include to make it identifiable as this town. And as you can see, I swapped out the giant cypress tree for our grain elevator. And so if you look up on the right-hand side there, you can kind of see that arrow showing where the point of view is. It probably doesn't make sense to people who aren't from here, but it's the point of view of the mural is from the bridge on Route 45 facing east. And so all the things you see in that image are sort of a compressed view of what you see from that actual view. So I kind of squiggled the spots that show where the actual locations of the included elements are, because if you're not from here, you probably have no idea where they are, but here is the Google map version that is the view from that bridge looking east, where you can see the railway and the grain elevator and some of the buildings there that appear. You can see the community building and the vault building, and you can see the water tower there peeping out over the sort of the right-hand side there. So this is the first building I included that is no longer in existence. It is the TY Tower, and it was torn down before I lived here, but it's a very iconic sort of building that many people fondly remember. If you pause it here, you could read this, and then if you pause here, you could go to this website, and the next link also is shown there. If you want to pause and grab that link, you could read all about this really interesting little switch tower that used to have somebody working in there 24/7 until they kind of got into the digital age. And so I just have been fascinated by this little building, even though I've never seen it in real life. And another historic thing I included was this historic alignment of the train diamond that is very well known in if you're a rail fan. So now we're getting into the buildings included in the mural. So this is the Tuscola Community Building. It's a very well loved and used building in town. And then we're panning over where those yellow scribbles are. That's where the mural actually lives. And then we're kind of slowly panning over to the Vault Building, which is a arts collective, great group of people there helping to make Tuscola artsy. And then here we go to our water tower that is right by our football field, which also includes the goalpost in the mural. So it'll just kind of pip it in there. Boop, there it is. And the Tuscola outlets have this kind of iconic tower, so I included that. And the I guess westward facing wall of the courthouse, that's the back side of it. And our Carnegie Library, which looks identical today. So there's me driving the lift. That was a 45-foot lift. It was very slow. So this is me driving 3 miles an hour on the lift with my dad behind me acting as my safety flasher. And got it there. So just a little bit of this is what the wall looked like before. The city put a new board up so that window could be painted. And this is me doing the primer coat. I did not like going up on that lift to do that painting because it was very bouncy and shaky, but I got the primer done. So go me. I was proud of myself for that. And of course, beauty shot with my van because I love my van. So here is the digital image that is the tracing that I made off of the painting on Procreate, and this is what I used on my digital projector, and the different colors just kind of indicate what colors we're doing for the sky and to the ground. So you see here, we're spray painting white for the sky outlines and then black for the ground. And as you can see, those power lines on each side were really difficult to work around with that lift and with the ladders. You can see how close just there, it even got closer than that. But yeah, the power lines were probably one of the biggest variables that I wasn't prepared for with it. That's next morning. So other than the power lines on each side that were at different angles, which was very difficult with the lift, the other variable was that air conditioning unit that is on that left middle part of the wall there. And how do you work that into a design and when you can't paint it? And so kind of designed the whole mural off of that air conditioning unit to work it in. So I just thought that was a cool shot. Yeah, so you can see us kind of all working on different sections at the same time. So yeah, the whole design is based off of working in that air conditioning unit as the top of the grain elevator. So here we are, we're several days in at this point, and my friend Jess has come to visit and help out. So now there's 4 of us working on it. Jess brought out a drone, so I've got some cool drone footage. It's slightly sped up, so that's me climbing up that ladder. Then there's Libby up top there, and you could get a better look of all the wires and all the, just trying to work around. And then, you know, obviously ladders with the garden. You didn't want to smash all the plants. And oh, yeah, also like knowing there was going to be a pollinator garden right there that was going to grow up and cover part of the design, I had to make kind of the bottom part of the design hideable. And so I figured let's just make some more plant life. And so those are kind of a field of soybeans at the bottom there. Here we are just kind of zooming in, and it's probably, I don't know, like day 3 of painting. We had a couple rain days in there that we weren't able to go out and paint. But you can see how, you know, even we're at the halfway point here, it's just layering and layering. And I feel like with any of these sort of impressionistic paintings, the secret is to just keep putting paint down, and then cover it up with more paint, because you can't just do one pass and expect it to convincingly look like it's a impressionistic painting. It definitely is. If you think you went far enough, do another layer of paint. I feel like that's, and so we quickly realized I didn't have enough of certain colors, so I had to do like a panic emergency buy of a couple shades of blue and a couple shades of the green that I didn't anticipate were gonna be gone through so quickly. But yeah, whenever you are planning a project that is on this scale, it doesn't happen overnight. And a lot of it is preparation to make it look like when you are to show up and do the job, that it just happens like magic. And I feel like that's a lot of the illusion that, you know, of being an artist we have to create is, and it's not intentionally, it's just that's how people interpret what we're doing as magic, but really is we go in with a plan and then you execute the plan, and it looks like it's just appeared out of thin air. But yeah, this was about, from start to finish, about a 6-month project for me. I started late last year. Well, actually before that, I walked around and did site inspections with the tourism director and settled on this wall because it faces a brand new green space that the city built, and they want to have events and vendors and stuff, and they want to make some of the less attractive frontage to have some nice curb appeal and kind of create a little bit of, I don't know, festive atmosphere. So this was the wall we decided on, and I had to come up with a rough design and create a probably about a 10-page proposal with, examples of photos and mock-ups and, putting the digital painting on a photo of the building to kind of give them an idea of how it will sit, and then a lot of waiting in between. It wasn't like 6 months of solid work. It was do a bunch of work and then you wait a month or so for approvals or for the next step to happen, because they have to have a meeting and go through that process. And then, you go back and do your next phases. So it gets really tricky when you're budgeting for things like lifts, because you don't know exactly how many days you're going to need it. Paint, you don't know exactly how much paint, so you got to really do a lot of guesswork, educated guesswork. And sometimes the number's not right, or prices go up, which is, a lot of us are experiencing that right now. You might have bid it when that can of paint was, $9, but now that can of paint is $13. Or, the lift was maybe, $300 a day, but now the lift is $450 a day. So, but you can't do take backsies really. So, especially with a government entity, because it's taxpayer funded, you have to be really aware of it's everybody's money. So this is right when we got down to the end of it. This is you can see me there in the corner there looking at my phone, because they're taking photos and sending it to me so I could get this last area from the roof, because we couldn't get to it because of those wires right there. And this is right after the lift was returned and everybody is done, and all I had left was to do the tiny mural inside the mural. So you can see Marcus is boxing up all the cans, and we're getting stuff put into the van. Yeah, so all in all, I think this was, including the primer coat day, it was 7 days of actual painting, with then, on top of that, there was a couple of those rain days. So it was, round about a 10-day actual process for the painting. I think that's about how long we had that lift. And you can see our little art staging area there that we had to try to keep organized. And this is an angle you'd never get to see from the ground, where the mural wraps around the second floor freight doors there. It wraps around the door, so we even have the ledge painted and the frame area around the door there, but people really would never get to see that unless, I guess, you're a bird. But yeah, this is all the way up to the tippy top. So you can see we went up onto the tiles there. That way it's just a seamless ground to sky with the sky behind it, so there wasn't like a brown line of tiles sort of interrupting the view of the line of sight. So it's just sky to sky. But yeah, you could really see those brush strokes up close. You could really see on that center swirl with the importance of the layering and just having a bazillion similar colors that are not exact to give it that sort of more oil paint-esque sort of blend look to it. And it gets down to the cloud part with the Tuscola in it. And I probably did about, 4 or 5 passes over that to get it to that point where I was happy with it. Then you can see there on the bottom, on the ground, where our TI tower is. So yeah, that's it. After everybody was done helping me paint, and then I just had to go back on the one last day. That's all of us. Here's a good shot of the 4 of us, Marcus, me, Libby, and Jess. And this is me on the last day. is the reveal of the mini mural inside the mural. Ta-da! Super happy with how that came out. I did that all with mural paint and a brush. We did use a brush to do some of the tighter black outlines as well. That's the halfway done with the mini mural. That's the final, and then I'll do a fancy zoom out with the actual painting. And this is at the ribbon cutting that we had to celebrate the reveal of the mural. So that is Paul and Connor, and there goes Dave Porter with his camera. So they're playing kind of like a cool vibraphone lo-fi music. This is all of us with the mayor and the local beauty queens. We're doing an actual ribbon cutting with the giant scissors. And then after we did the ribbon cutting, we signed it. And I put Jess's name on there as well. So there's Libby, me, and Marcus, all proud of our work. And the Vault did a Starry Night painting event in conjunction with it. So that is Marcus and his wife, Jessie, holding her painting of Starry Night. Here's another pan across of the ribbon cutting with everybody kind of coming and hanging out. Super wholesome. Yeah, so it was a super nice day. This is neat. Somebody had chalk and they drew the water tower. So yeah, it was a really nice day. And this is the view from my window from my apartment, which is on a second floor. That's me and my parents, Fred and Judy, and looking super happy and proud of me. So yeah, that is the start to finish from the mural. So once again, that's the iPad drawing, and then the actual painting, and then the mural. So thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, leave a comment, and I'll hopefully be able to answer it.